Every few months we like to order Indian takeout. I recently checked the prices and was shocked, so I decided to cook it at home. Lentils, 2 types of curry, rice and naan with butter. It took me 4 hours and I just waited most of the time. Let's begin. Since the rehydration process will take time, start by washing and soaking 500 grams of lentils. Now for one of the main ingredients in the Indian cuisine, namely garlic ginger paste. Get 3 heads of garlic and a piece of ginger roughly the same size. Smash the garlic into cloves. Only a person who has cleaned this amount of garlic with a knife knows the effort it takes. But there is a much easier way. Put the cloves in a jar and shake it vigorously for about a minute, as if you are making a garlic cocktail. As you can see, most of the cloves are peeled or need minimal attention. Collect them in the bowl of the stick blender. Add more or less the same amount of peeled ginger cut into chunks. If you also have difficult to peel parts, just cut them off but keep them for later. Add water as you need to have a thick paste. Set aside in a container with a lid. The other step that takes a significant amount of time is marinating the chicken for murg mukhni, or in other words, our red curry. Since my wife prefers chicken breasts, I will use them for the recipe. However, a better and tastier choice would be boneless, skinless legs. They are easier to keep moist during cooking and are tastier. Wash, clean and divide 2 chicken breasts into 6 large pieces each. To marinate them in a bag, mix 2 tea tablespoons of plain yogurt, a whole tablespoon of garlic ginger paste, half a teaspoon of garam masala and 1 whole teaspoon of hot red pepper. Finish with a large pinch of salt. Stir the marinade and the chicken and check that each piece is well covered with the sauce. Before I forget, add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Hey, better late than never. Vacuum seal if possible, if not, just leave it in the fridge for at least 2 hours. These were the urgent tasks. Now we can slow down and prepare the sauce for the second curry, murg ka korma or the green curry. We need 4 or 5 slightly hot green peppers, 1 whole onion and 50 grams of unsalted cashew nuts. After cutting everything into large pieces, put them in a small pot with 50 ml of water, cover with the lid and simmer on low heat until everything softens. 2 hours after we started, the lentils should be rehydrated. I will use a pressure cooker. In a bowl of the Instant Pot, add the lentils, the piece of ginger with the peel on, which we kept at the very beginning, 2 green hot peppers with the seeds, cut in 2 lengthwise, and a large pinch of salt. Fill with water enough to cover the lentils with about 3 centimeters or 1 inch and a bit of water. Cook it for 40 minutes at full pressure. If you don't have a pressure cooker, after the first hour of soaking, start simmering the lentils in a saucepan with the lid on medium-low heat. Everyone has their own preferences on how to eat Indian food. Many people prefer rice, but I like naan. The question is, why should I choose? To prepare 5 pieces of naan with butter, in a bowl mix 75 grams of plain yogurt, 200 milliliters of room temperature water, 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 of salt, 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 3 grams of instant yeast. Mix the ingredients well and add 375 grams of plain flour. Mix well, cover and set aside for 20 minutes so that the flour can rehydrate properly. Let's go back to the green curry. After 15 minutes, the ingredients should be soft. The onion should have become translucent and the cashews creamy. Transfer to the bowl of the hand blender and blend to a fine sauce. If, like mine, your sauce is thick, you can add a few tablespoons of water. Let's check how the dough is doing. Knead it a few times and leave it in a warm place so that it can start rising. The chicken for our red curry has been in the fridge for about 3 hours now. It's time to bake it. Take out the entire contents of the bag on a tray. Arrange them so that there are no overlapping pieces and bake under the broiler on maximum power. Place the tray as close as possible to it so that the chicken can be nicely charred. This takes about 15 minutes, but check it often so it doesn't overcook and dry out, especially if you're using chicken breast like I do. Things in the kitchen are speeding up again. The lentils are cooked. After a short break of about 30 minutes, the dough has relaxed. With the help of a little oil, knead it once more. Put oil on the work surface and divide into 5 pieces. Shape each one into a ball on the oil and leave it again in the bowl for the final proofing. The lentils are cooked and the pressure in the pot has dissipated. For our purpose, we want the lentils to disintegrate completely when pressed between the fingers. The chicken for our red curry is done baking. It's time to move to the rice. Measure a cup of long grain rice, in my case jasmine, wash it several times in a bowl of cold water until the water runs clear. Transfer to a bowl with a lid and pour a cup and a bit of water. After the water boils, reduce the heat to the lowest setting, put the lid on and let it cook for 20 minutes. We are entering the final phase, the last quarter. Prepare the spices and ingredients for the lentils. Cut half an onion and 1 green hot pepper into small cubes. Heat oil, but mind the temperature because the spices will burn easily. Put 1 teaspoon whole cumin seeds, followed by the onion and pepper. When the vegetables soften, add a teaspoon of garlic paste, hot red pepper and ground coriander seeds. Wait 10 seconds while the spices revive their aromas from the warm oil. When they're in season, you can use fresh tomatoes, but now, in the winter, I will add a can of diced tomatoes. Simmer on low heat for 10 minutes so that the tomatoes can completely disintegrate. It's been 20 minutes for the rice. Remove it from the heat, stir gently with a fork to make it fluffy and cover for another 20 minutes to steam the rice. That was our first dish. Let's finish the lentils. Take the pieces of ginger and green pepper out. Using a whisk, start stirring the lentils. The goal is to get a creamy texture by crushing the individual grains, but also to keep some of them whole to have a contrast. You can use a hand blender, but there is a risk of getting a puree. Add a few scoops of the lentil liquid to the warm spices, mix well and return everything to the pan. Finally, add 50 grams of cubed butter, tablespoon each of fenugreek and garam masala, and 50 milliliters of full fat cream. Leave it on low until it's time to eat. This was the second dish, dal makhni. But that's not all. For the red curry, in a pan, melt 50 grams of butter along with 1 tablespoon of oil. The oil is added to rise the smoking point of the butter. Fry a green hot pepper, finely chopped, a few very hot little red peppers. My wife loves extremely hot dishes, you determine for yourself. Add half a teaspoon of garam masala, fenugreek and optional coriander. Wait until you can smell the aromas of the spices and add 150 grams of tomato paste and 1 full tablespoon of garlic ginger paste. Fry the paste and mix the ingredients. Continue the red curry sauce with 1 tablespoon of red hot pepper and 2 tablespoons of honey. And the roasted marinated chicken with all the sauces from the pan, as well as enough water to get a semi-liquid sauce. Finally, add another half teaspoon of garam masala and fenugreek. We use them at the beginning and end because we want the contrast between the cooked and the semi-raw spices. If desired, you can add 50 grams of full fat cream. Number 3. Red curry sauce. Done. The green curry is the easiest of all. Wash, clean and cut 2 more chicken breasts. Heat oil in a pan and add a full tablespoon of garlic paste. Fry it well and add the meat together with a pinch of salt. When the meat is fried on all sides, add a teaspoon each of ground coriander and cumin, as well as half a teaspoon of garam masala and turmeric. When you can smell the spices in the air, add the onion puree. Cook until the meat is ready and add 50 milliliters of full fat cream. Now there are 4. Let's end this epic cook with the naan bread. Heat a steel pan over medium-low heat. While waiting, melt 2 tablespoons of butter and add 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. You can roll your naan with a rolling pin, but for the traditional way, lightly oil your hands, remove the gases from the dough and take out a bowl of dough. Start clapping your hands and transfer the dough from one hand to the other. Due to the centrifugal force, some of the dough will fly over your hands. When this happens, just turn the dough and continue until the size of the bread reaches that of the pan. Bake on one side until you see the bubbles, then turn. Remove from the pan and spread generously with the butter mixture. This was my Indian challenge. Now we will gorge on this delicious feast. If you like this video, you can subscribe to our channel or watch one of the other videos here. Enjoy!